Hey y'all, and welcome back from AU 2024. I don't know about you, but I definitely needed a week to recoup and get my life back in order after the craziness of Autodesk University. I mean, we go in, we have to be our bubbly selves and network and talk and scream, and I end AU without a voice, so I definitely had to wait a little bit of time until I did my recap video. Now, I'm so excited to tell you all about my experience at AU 2024 in kind of didn't end up being so sunny San Diego, but it still was an amazing experience. And everyone's experience is different. Whether you came as an exhibitor or just an attendee, a speaker, an executive, everyone's experience is different. And what's amazing about AU is there's so much to do to make AU what you want it to be and get the most out of it. So this is my experience. And at AU, I kind of wear a lot of hats. You can even see it from my ribbon here. I am a speaker and a speaker mentor. I am an expert elite. I was a meetup host. I was on the AU Advisory Council. I am also working at the expo at my company Symetri's booth. So there was a lot for me to do and so many different things for me to see. So this is my recap. AU for me actually started a day early. I mean, I arrived that Sunday just to get a little bit of rest and see San Diego before the activities I had to do on Monday. And I did get to eat In-N-Out burger for the very first time, which was delicious, and touch the Atlantic Ocean for the first time because I am an East Coast girly. But once I did get some rest, Monday was packed with things to do. I woke up early and then headed over to the Dynamo Hackathon. This was my very first hackathon, and I was so nervous because I always kind of have imposter syndrome when it comes to my Dynamo skills, but it ended up being an incredible experience. I mean, I did go into it with an open mind. I kind of said, what's the worst thing that can happen? I just learned from a bunch of incredibly smart people. So I was put on a team with Mustafa, Caesar, and Ryan, and we ended up being an incredible team. I loved my team. We had this idea to use ChatGPT to create a text prompt to generate the Dynamo graph for you. It would place the nodes, it would connect the wires, and be all ready to go. And we wanted to do this for Dynamo Performa. Since Dynamo Performa is fairly new, we wanted to make it easier for new people who don't use Dynamo to now utilize Dynamo Performa, which is very new at the moment. And we wanted to reduce the barrier for entry for Dynamo Performa. That was kind of the idea behind it. Thank God Mustafa was on our team. He basically did all the hard work, all of that ChatGPT, getting it to learn from the graphs we were presenting it with and developing the proof of concept, which we couldn't really get 100% working by the end of the hackathon, but the hackathon was only about 6 hours in total. By the time we did brainstorming and things like that, we were only hacking for about 4.5 hours. And Ryan, Caesar, and myself put together all of the Dynamo graphs for Forma that the ChatGPT could use to learn from so that it can generate new graphs from a text prompt. We ended up winning the most innovative hack of the hackathon, which was really exciting, and I had loads of fun. I even got a Dynamo temporary tattoo and got to see everybody's innovative hacks. I mean, every single team created something super fun, super inventive, and I learned so much from the experience. There was a reception after the hackathon, but I couldn't stay because I had to head get back to my hotel and get ready for the evening events. I ended up getting ready pretty quickly, which I'm pretty proud of myself for, and headed over to the welcome reception, which was in the community zone. It was my first time seeing the community zone. It was really exciting. As I am an Expert Elite and part of the Autodesk community, I was so excited to see how they put everything together, where the games were, in the dog park, in the community zone, and everything within that space. I got to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a really long time. Just kind of walked around and tried to find people that I knew so that I could say hi and give them a big old hug. Then I headed over to the Design and Make Awards ceremony. This was really exciting because I finally was able to announce that I won the award for the AEC Community Leader of the Year. This was totally unexpected, and I am truly honored to receive this award. I have the award right here. It is a really cool design with this wood and metal that has, all the information, and then this clear portion up here that actually lights up. And it was so incredible to see all the other organizations and companies and people get awards. It was so inspiring to see everything that people are doing around the world. But the true highlight of the evening was actually getting to meet and take a picture with Dara Treseder, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Autodesk. I definitely fangirled a little bit because she is such an incredible woman who is a role model and inspiration, showing us how to lead, how to grow diversity within a organization, and how to just be a champion for women everywhere. Tuesday was the official first day of AU, and after a good amount of rest, which I'm pretty proud of myself for getting, I headed off to the morning bites in the convention center. And this was the first time at AU I actually woke up early enough to be able to get the breakfast, and it was really great to be able to just randomly sit at a table and see a bunch of people I knew and have breakfast with them. I then headed off to the Expert Elite Meetup, where I got to finally meet a lot of Expert Elites in person, chat with them. We played a little game to get to know each other, and we even got our little swag bag full of things like pins and jackets, and I'll do a whole haul later at the end of the video of all of the swag that I got at AU 2024. I then headed off to the general session, and if y'all didn't know, one perk about being an Expert Elite is that you get VIP seating in the general session. So I get to go front and center, maybe not in the first row, but I think I was sitting in the third row, right in the front in the general session, which makes it really great to experience all of the amazing talking points from some of the big league heavy hitters at Autodesk. So it started off with Andrew, who is the president and CEO of Autodesk, and he was talking about investing in big end-to-end design and making solutions powered by Autodesk AI. Last year, we heard about Autodesk AI for the first time, and we have seen a little trickle over the year of Autodesk AI being incorporated into different Autodesk products. So it was really amazing in this year's general session to see some actual work in progress or MVPs of how Autodesk AI is going to be incorporated into the different platforms. We also heard from Raji, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Autodesk, about their plans for the Autodesk Assistants across their different platforms. The general session was incredible, but I was a little disappointed that the DJ didn't show up because she really does bring the general session to life, making it so exciting to enter that giant room and bring energy to the general session. However, hearing from all the technology and all the things that are to come in the next year was incredible. And of course, Autodesk had to mention how we're helping with the LA 2028 Olympics at the end of the general session. After the general session, I headed to the community zone for a networking session, the I'm New Here AU Newbies, where I co-hosted with some other community members, and we met with a lot of AU newbies to help them understand what AU's like, what to expect, and some tips and tricks for navigating AU. Then I headed off to the expo to finally check out the Symetri booth and see all of my colleagues. For having, 50 Symetri and Team D3 colleagues at AU, I hadn't seen any of them all morning. So I was really excited to get to see a lot of my colleagues that I've always see at all these events, but some that I've never seen in person yet. Then I went back to the community zone because I was so excited to check out the dog park. The dog park for me every year is a must-see. I am obsessed with dogs, as many of you might know, and so getting to pet some puppies really helps with relaxation. For me, AU is all about networking, catching up with my AU family, clients, and just expanding the community that I have developed here at Autodesk. And so I don't tend to go to that many sessions, but the first day I did attend 2 sessions, the first of which was the session by Nicholas Cotillier, who is the BIM Pure guy. And he had a session about his experience within his 80 live sessions that he's done on his YouTube channel. So it was just great to hear from a fellow YouTuber about some do's, some don'ts, some learning lessons, some successes, and what he's done over his years with BIM Pure. The other session that I attended was actually my session that I hosted. It was a panel discussion called Passing the Torch, Champions for Women Supporting Future Generations. And it was our company Symetri's sponsored session. And I put together this session with Shivani Soni, Kim Hendricks, and Jana Froman. I was the host who interviewed them, and we had an incredible discussion talking about their experience being women in the AECO and manufacturing industries, how they've excelled into leadership positions, and advice for other women on how to do the same. At the end, we had a Q&A session, which was a great conversation with the audience. We got to hear some of our audience's experiences, and they even started answering each other's questions, which was kind of the point of the session. We also handed out these stickers that said, "Empowered Women Empower Women." So I was really excited to put on this session, as it is a passion of mine to help other women in our industry. And I think it was pretty successful. After that, I headed back to the expo, as there was some kind of reception, networking, happy hour situation at the expo hall. And I also wanted to stay because the APS leadership was coming over to our booth to talk to Symetri about what we're doing with APS. We actually have products that we've developed to help with BIM 360 and ACC workflows. So I got in touch with my colleagues, put them together with the APS team so that they can present what Symetri is doing with APS. After that, at the end of the evening, we had our Expert Elite happy hour. Again, it was great to connect with all of my fellow Expert Elites, and the highlight was a really fun photo booth. So we got to put all these little costumes on and just take pictures with everybody. So I'm going to definitely put those up to remember AU 2024 by. Wednesday was day 2 of AU, and it was another early start for me. I didn't make it to the breakfast or morning bites that morning, so I picked up some Starbucks and headed to the community zone because I was co-hosting the AECO Community Meetup. This was a lot of fun. I love this new type of session, the meetup session that they did this year, because as I've said before, I go specifically for networking, and it was a great opportunity to network with people who share the same interests as you. Then I headed to the general session day 2, which again, I got VIP sitting, and this time I learned I headed there a little earlier because even though the previous day I started heading there at half an hour before the general session, it was not enough time. You know, the crowds, it's really difficult to get in. So this time I headed there an hour earlier to get a good seat and make sure that I had enough time to set up, my camera and everything like that. In this general session, we heard from a few of the executive vice presidents. We heard from Jeff Kinder, who is the executive vice president of design and manufacturing at Autodesk. We heard from Diana Colella, who is the executive vice president of media and entertainment at Autodesk, and Amy Bunszel, who is the executive vice president of architecture, engineering, and construction at Autodesk. Jeff talked about what transformation looks like across our different industries and presented Project Bernini, which is a really cool text to family or text to model generator. And then Amy talked about how AI is going to change the way we work, how data is the foundation of everything, how Autodesk is our partner on this kind of transformation data AI journey. After the general session, I headed to the AU Advisory Council lunch. Again, a great opportunity to meet the other people on the AU Advisory Council. I only just joined the AU Advisory Council this year, and so I was so excited to join this council because I get to help provide input to the people who are creating AU, help them with things like the apps, the community zone, how to navigate AU, and a bunch of other different things from my experiences going to AU over the years. So we got to meet in person. We had a fun little activity where we talked about developing what the AU Advisory Council would be if it was a band, and just, get to know each other. Then I headed to the AECO Industry Keynote because one of our other fellow expert elites, Shelby Smith, who I am so proud of, got to be on stage for the AECO Keynote to talk about her company's project and involvement. It is just amazing to see somebody like Shelby, another woman who is doing incredible things in our industry and making leadership strides. Spent most of the afternoon in the expo hall at the Symetri booth, talking to customers and other people who came to the booth. Then was the big Symetri After Hours event in the evening. I have to say kudos to our marketing team because they put together a phenomenal event. I mean, it was in this amazing space. We had this whole setup of gambling or fake gambling with, blackjack table and poker table. So for those who kind of missed Vegas a little bit, we gave you a little taste of Vegas. You got these raffle tickets when you played, and then we had a huge raffle. I even got to MC part of the raffle, which was really fun. And we even had Symetri branded pedicabs to take you back and forth to our event. It was a big hit, and I know I had so much fun. Plus, we had a s'mores bar where we could make our own s'mores. So from start to finish, it was a great event, and I got to network and connect with so many of our customers. Thursday was day 3 and the final day of AU, and I know by this day I was definitely feeling the effects of AU. I had a few people coming up to me telling me how tired I looked, which is never fun to hear, but nonetheless the day must go on and try to make the most of the last day of AU. I started off with morning bites this time, and then I headed over to watch my colleague Ed LaRiviere's session on BIM to fabrication to field workflows. It was a great session, and for somebody who isn't even in fabrication, I learned so much and was really inspired of their talk about now, next, later in terms of technology for fabrication. Then I went back to the community zone for the diversity in design and make networking. We didn't have that many people show up, but we still had an amazing and engaging conversation with those that did. I then headed over with some fellow expert elites to the AU reunion lunch. I'm still not sure how I got this invite, but it was great to go and had an amazing lunch hearing from some AU legends who have been going to AU for, 20, 30 years. After the lunch, I went to the Content Creator Community Meetup that I co-hosted with a few other community members. I realized that content creator might have been a confusing title because a few people had asked me about this meetup and thought that it had to do with like Revit content creation, but this meetup had to do more with like social media content creation, YouTube's, blogs, videos, and other social media platforms. And it was really inspiring to hear from other people attending AU what they're doing around their content creation, whether it is around the things that they do for work, whether it's around other things that they're passionate about, or whether they are trying to create a brand and grow their network. After that, I spent a lot of time at the expo at our Symetri booth, and then went to the final session of AU at 4:30, which was actually one of my mentees. As I mentioned before, I am a speaker mentor, and because I wear so many hats, I do find it hard to attend some of my mentee sessions. But because this session was the last session of the evening and everything was closed, the expo was closed and kind of everything was finishing up, I got to attend one of my mentee session, which was called Ethics in Computational Design, Infusing Equity into AI and Generative Design for Building Design Processes. I learned so much and it was really a great way to end AU. Then, of course, there was the final AU party, and this took over that Gaslamp Quarter, that one street that ran through the Gaslamp Quarter. They shut it down. We had all the restaurants providing all this food and samples to try from. There were drinks, there were DJs, there were all these different acts and shows. There was a magician to perform for you, and obviously, at the very end, there was the Counting Crows performance. It was incredible from start to finish, and I had such a blast. And then I ended the night singing karaoke, which is probably why I woke up the next morning without a voice. Now, before we wrap up, I want to show you some of the swag that I got at this year's AU. Now, this year, I really tried to limit all the swag I got because after going to so many conferences over the years, I just have too much. So I only took the stuff that I loved. And obviously one of which was a lot of these pins that I got from different things, from like our Symetri pins to our Autodesk and Expert Elite pins and things like that. I got a Autodesk community water bottle, and this came in clutch because I actually lost the water bottle I brought on the very first day. So I definitely needed a water bottle to stay hydrated. At the Expert Elite Meetup, they gave us these, sports Expert Elite bags. And we also got these Expert Elite windbreaker jackets that have these hidden hoods in the back. Of course, I had to get my little Lego figure in the community zone. I did end up going to the Autodesk store and purchasing this amazing white sweatshirt that says Autodesk on it. I love it. I did already stain it, so it's going in the wash, which is why I didn't wear it on this video. And then I got a series of socks. I got these Slantis socks, so cute, the Orchestra socks, and the Symetri socks that I kind of stole from our own booth. I also got BIM Pure socks, but I ended up giving those to somebody else. And the last thing I got, which was probably my most exciting, was my female Autodesk rubber ducky. So at the New York Build event, I actually got this rubber ducky, which is the male version. And so I was so excited to bring him home a wife. And for some reason, the female ducky is so much bigger. But I love them. And that's all the swag that I brought home from this year's AU. I don't know about you, but hearing that AU was somewhere else other than Vegas did make me a little bit nervous because of the experience in New Orleans. But I have to say that this probably was my favorite and best AU so far. The venue was incredible. The fact that the convention center was right next to this strip of bars and restaurants, and it was outdoors with beautiful weather. Wasn't always sunny, but it was still good weather, and all the hotels were really close by. It was really an incredible AU, and I can't wait for next year, which was announced to be in Nashville. I hope that it is just as good as AU 2024 in the city known for country music. And as a country music lover, I cannot wait for AU 2025 in Nashville. I'll see you all there.